If you don't know what the UEFA Europa Conference League is, this video is the one for you, because I'm going to explain right from the qualification right up through the format what this competition actually is after Spurs beat Leicester yesterday to qualify for the playoff round. Before we do get into that, if you are new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button to keep up to date on Tottenham's pursuit of a manager, which we do expect to be finalised in the next 10 days, as well as unrivaled coverage of the upcoming transfer window in the Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk series. And now, look, this competition is baffling. The format right from where we are now up until the round of 16 is crazy, and we're going to run through every minor detail you need to know and explain exactly how Spurs will be getting to compete in this. I want to make immediately is that Spurs are not yet qualified. We are not in the group stage of the competition. There are no teams that qualify directly for the group stage of the UEFA Europa Conference League, and I'm going to tell you what Spurs need to do to qualify and what more is to come. But quickly first, just to give a bit of background on the competition, it's the third tier of European football to be run in congruency with the Champions League and the Europa League. It has been designed to give teams from the lower ranked UEFA member associations more of a chance to qualify for European football. So what is happening is the Europa League is being reduced from 48 teams to 32 teams, and the Conference League is being brought in as a 32-team competition, which is essentially adding 16 places for teams to qualify for European football. So the qualification for this competition consists of two paths, without a Champions path and the League path. So it's fairly similar to the Champions League, and basically what that means is the Champions path is the equivalent of Manchester City having qualified for the Champions League, given that they won their domestic league, and the League path will be the equivalent of Man United, Liverpool and Chelsea having qualified based on their domestic finishings, even though they didn't win the league. So the Champions path is going to be for the kind of lower ranked nations, which we'll move on to in a second. But Spurs have qualified for the playoff through the League path. Now, there are 5 nations who have a team that will qualify. They'll have one team who will qualify for the playoff round through that. And they're the top 5 ranked nations in the UEFA coefficient standings, as we can imagine: Spain, France, Germany, Italy, and England, apologies. So the teams that have qualified through that are: from England, we have Spurs. In Spain, there's Villarreal, of course, in the Europa League final. This could change if Villarreal do win that final against Man United. They will be pushed into the Champions League, and that spot for Spain will be pushed down to the team finishing in 8th. From Germany, it is Union Berlin. From Italy, it is Roma, who will, of course, be managed by Jose Mourinho next season. And then in France, 6th place Rennes have qualified through there. So those are the kind of biggest teams to be concerned about in this competition. The next 10 ranked nations, the nations ranked 6 to 15, will have 2 teams to qualify. And just give a quick bit of context, those nations are Portugal, Netherlands, Russia, Belgium, Austria, Scotland, Ukraine, Turkey, Denmark, and Cyprus. The nations ranked 16 to 50 will have 3 teams qualify, and we're not going to run through all that because it will take a bit too long. But then when we really do get down to scraping the barrel of European football, the nations ranked 51 to 55 will have 2 teams who go into the qualifying rounds. Those nations are Wales, Iceland, Estonia, Andorra, and San Marino. Now, of these 55 nations, there is one nation that isn't included, and that is Liechtenstein, because they do not have a domestic league. So the winners of the Liechtenstein Football Cup will qualify directly for the qualifying rounds, irrespective of their coefficient ranking. So Liechtenstein will always have a team who do get into that into the qualifying round. Now, it is important to note that no country will have more teams given the chance to qualify, or no more places in European football. There's just more chances for their teams already in those places to qualify. So to explain that a bit better, in England in the past, it has been 4 teams in the Champions League and 3 teams in the Europa League, not straight into the group stage, but at various points of the qualifying rounds. However, England's 3rd Europa League spot has now been pushed down to the UEFA Conference League. So while it may seem as though we have an extra spot in the Conference League, that has been taken from the Europa League. And that is the case with every team around Europe. Their places have just been shifted around a bit. There are not any more places being given to any countries. And now we get into the format of this competition, which it's absolutely baffling. So the playoff round is where Spurs are currently competing. That is where we will be going into this competition. There are 2 paths in the playoff round, the Champions path and the League paths, consisting of non-Champions teams. So there will be 5 playoffs played in the Champions path. Those are the 5 winners from the 3rd qualifying round for Champions in the UEFA Europa Conference League, and 5 teams eliminated from the Europa League 3rd qualifying round for Champions. So the Champions path and the League path are completely separate. So any team who won their domestic league and fail in the European 3rd qualifying round for the Europa League will not be able to compete with Spurs. We will only be coming up against teams who haven't won their domestic leagues, which doesn't really mean much when you're talking about the lower leagues of European football. But just for that context, it is important. Now, the playoff round that Spurs will be entering, which is, of course, I'm sure why 99% of people are watching this video, there are 34 teams in this playoff round. So there's 17 teams that will progress. There are 3 different groups of teams who are involved in this. The first one is the domestic league placed qualifiers for this one. There's 1 domestic league 5th place team from Association 5 and 4 domestic league 6th place teams from Associations 1 to 4. So that is the one, I think it's France who's their 5th place team, and then the 6th place teams, including England. Now, the general qualification thing for England in this is the winners of the League Cup will qualify for the UEFA Conference League. However, if the winners of the League Cup have already qualified for the Champions League or the Europa League, the Conference League spot will be pushed down to the next place in the league. And of course, City won the League Cup, so we have gotten that through our finish in the league. Other teams in our playoff group will include 26 winners from the 3rd qualifying round for non-champions and 3 teams eliminated from the Europa League 3rd qualifying round for non-champions. So those are the 34 teams that will make that up. 17 games to be played there, 5 games to be played in the Champions path of the playoff round, putting 22 teams into the competition out of the 32. So in the group stage, those 22 will be the 5 winners from the playoff round for champions and 17 winners from the playoff round for non-champions. And then 10 teams eliminated from the Europa League playoff round will drop down into the Europa Conference League. So, imagine, I think West Ham are in the Europa League playoff. If they lose their Europa League playoff, they will drop down into the Conference League with Spurs. And that is your group stage. Those are your 32 teams that are in the group stage. It's going to be a lot kind of clearer when we have the names of the teams that are going to be in this, and it'll be a bit easier to follow. But that is the format of this competition. And this is where it gets even more confusing, if you didn't think that was possible. Between the group stage and the knockout round, which is typically, look at the Champions League, you finish first in your group stage, you get through to the last 16. You finish second in your group stage, you get through to the last 16, just as seeded and unseeded teams. That's not the case in the Conference League. The 8 runners-up from the group stage will be put into a preliminary knockout round with the 8 third-place teams from the Europa League group stage. So the winners of every group in the Conference League, perfect, will qualify for the knockout stage. However, the runners-up will have an extra round to compete with 8 teams dropping down from the Europa League to get into the knockout round. So it's kind of similar to how teams who finish 3rd in the Champions League drop down into the Europa League. However, that only works because there's 48 places in the traditional Europa League. Because it's reduced to 32, they're adding in this extra playoff round. So those 8 games will be played. And then the 8 winners from the group stage and the 8 winners of the preliminary knockout round will go into the last 16 of the Conference League. And from then on in, it's simple, straight knockout ties, whether it's 1 leg or 2 leg. I imagine that'll be, I imagine it's 2 leg, but with the current pandemic, I'm not sure that will remain the same. But that is where we are. That is how this competition will be competed. Just to give a bit of an insight into teams that are already confirmed for this, kind of on the top end of things. As we said, in the playoff round, which Spurs are in the non-champions path, there are Villarreal, Spurs, Union Berlin, Roma, and Rennes. In the 3rd qualifying round, so teams who are 1 game away from competing with Spurs, so far there's Pacos de Ferreira from Portugal, Rubin Kazan from Russia, Anderlecht from Belgium, there's Kolos Kovalavka from Ukraine, Vitesse from the Netherlands, Trabzonspor from Turkey, and Lask, who of course we competed with in the Europa League last season, from Austria in that 3rd qualifying round. In the 2nd qualifying round, there are a whole host of teams who are already qualified for that. To pick a few out, there's Ghent from Belgium, there's Aberdeen and Hibs from Scotland, there's Feyenoord from Netherlands, Santa Clara from Portugal, Apollon Limassol from Cyprus, PAOK from Greece, Aris Thessaloniki as well from Greece, Vålerenga from Norway, Molde from Norway as well, formerly Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. And then in the 1st qualifying round, I'm taking a quick look through here, and there aren't many teams that I can tell you I do know the name of. There's Maribor from Eastern Europe, who I think we competed with in the Europa League maybe 5 or 6 years ago. There's Fehérvár, who I think are from Hungary, were recently in the Europa League as well. And then just a lot of teams that a lot of people haven't heard of. From an Irish point of view, Dundalk Bohemians and Sligo Rovers are in that 1st qualifying round, but there's a whole lot of teams there that will have to play those rounds to get through to the Europa Conference League. It is a very, very confusing format for this competition. It's new, so a lot of people aren't going to know too much about it. But like I said, as the teams in this competition become more clearer and we know who is confirmed to be competing in all these rounds, it'll be a little bit easier to explain the format of it. But I hope this has helped. I hope it's given a bit of clarification, a bit of clarity on exactly what Spurs have to do in this competition. I think the biggest thing to take from this is something that I didn't know until I started looking into it, is that Spurs aren't yet in the group stage. So all those people slagging us for qualifying for the UEFA Conference League, we haven't even done that yet. We do have a playoff round to compete, which could be against Jose Mourinho's Roma. For all we know, we'll have to wait and see how that one pans out. Let me know in the comments if this has helped, if you've learned anything about this competition from this video. I hope you have. Like I said, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more on Tottenham's pursuit of a manager and the Tottenham Hotspur Transfer Talk series coming up over the summer. Smash a like on this video as well if it has helped you out. And as always, thanks for watching.